Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Today we're getting back to work on this crazy Chinese Hollowbody guitar kit that I've got here with the flame maple veneer. If you haven't seen the unboxing video, check that out. Today we're going to be staining the top. So we did our unboxing video for this not all that long ago. It's a completely hollow body. It very thin kind of plywood finish here with a flamed maple veneer on top, and we've got a multi-ply binding on the outside and a single ply binding around the sound holes rather. What I'm going to do today is put our die on the top. I'm also going to be finishing the back and the edges before I glue the neck in, and the reason for that is I will likely be using another die on the back, and when I do that and when I do the front, I want to make sure that I get that die on there before I do my glue work. And the reason for that is when I glue the neck in, the glue can get on the veneer and stuff and it kind of seeps out, and there's really only so much you can do about that, even if you do tape it off. I want to make sure that I don't end up with any glue in the way of somewhere where I'm going to be putting a transparent finish. So if I'm putting a transparent black die on the back, for example, I don't want glue interfering with the die absorbing into that area. And likewise, when I'm dyeing the areas around the neck pocket here, I don't want any glue in the way. So I can dye it now and then glue my neck in, do my finish around the edges, and then do my clear coat and everything later. The main thing is I want to get that color on there first. Today we're going to be focusing on that flame maple veneer on top. That's kind of the focal point of the guitar, the part that's really going to stand out and the part that's really going to look good under a transparent die. So I've got these liquid stains from Color Tone here. I'm going to be using the cherry red and the vintage amber, but I'm not going to be doing a burst with them. What I'm going to do instead is use the cherry red as an accent color and then come in afterward with my amber. Now this technique operates on the basis that your wood has open and closed grain, and of course a flame maple does have open and closed grain, although you do have to do this on an unsealed piece. It's a little bit more difficult with a veneer because we don't have a bunch of depth. We have glue right immediately under the surface because it's so thin. So we don't have as much room for error. So we're going to do a light coat, very light coat of the red to get some in there. We're going to sand back a little bit, and then we're going to come back in afterward with our amber. You can also mix these into a finish and spray it on. For example, a lacquer. What I'm going to be using today is just water to do a wipe-on finish. You can also mix it with an alcohol to do a wipe-on finish, but it dries a lot quicker and becomes a little bit more difficult to make it not blotch up or anything like that. The water is going to give us a little bit more room to work with spreading it around. As always, if you want to give this a try and you want these, you can also get aniline powdered dyes, you can get Kita dye and everything like that, but these in specific are going to be available in the Amazon link in the description, so feel free to go check that out. It helps me out if you get them through there, or you can get them through anywhere else that sells them. I think StuMac has them, and of course Amazon, if you don't go through my links, will also have them. So there are a variety of colors available. I really like the Color Tone, but Bellon's got a great aniline powdered dye, and like I said, Kita works. Crimson Guitars has a water-based stunning stain that works really well as well. Lots of options out there, and they all kind of operate on the same basis. So I'm going to mix these up now with some water. I've just got some bottled water. It really doesn't take much of these. That's why I really like them, because you can just use a couple drops. You'll see how I do that. And we'll get going on wiping our red on there first. We'll sand it back lightly, and then we'll come in with our amber. Let's get started. So I'm just mixing some bottled water and a few drops of this dye in a regular mixing cup here that I use for paint. You can see it only takes a few drops of the dye. I've had that container for years now and I've barely started into it. It lasts a very long time. I'm using a simple shop towel to apply this. Don't use a paper towel because it'll leave fibers behind. A rag is ideal, but a shop towel works just fine for this. There's no reason why you can't use it. Now, you can see that I'm wearing a glove on my left hand, and you really should be using one on each hand, or at least the hand that you're applying the finish with. This stain, this dye will dye your skin. It'll get in there right into the pores of your skin and stay for quite a while, so it's important to protect yourself against that. You will also notice that there's a line down the middle of the guitar, because this is a book matched veneer, but it's a very, very thin veneer, and there's glue on the surface. So for the same reason that I'm doing this finish before I go ahead and glue in the neck, I have a problem now right in the middle of the guitar, because when they glued this thing together, the glue either came through the veneer or they got some on top, and whatever the case happens to be there, more likely because the veneer is super thin, there's glue on top that simply isn't going to absorb the dye. This process is very simple though. You simply put the dye on in these circular motions like you've seen me doing. I've sped this up so you don't have to watch me do it for too long. And you end up with a nice even coat. Because it's water-based, it's very easy to move around, to remove excess, and to add more where you need it, and to blend out lines for that matter. Now, you'll see me kind of drying off areas where I get it on the binding. Because the binding is plastic and this is a water-based finish, you can simply dry it off, but make sure you do that before it dries fully. It does take a while for the water to dry, particularly if you're in a colder area, but you need to make sure you get in there and wipe it away as soon as possible so that you have less cleanup to do at the end. Now you can see that that flamed maple has actually been accented quite nicely just by this one simple coat. It's actually a pretty decent flame on there, but again, that line down the middle is just brutal. Particularly in the bottom region that you see here, it's wide, it's very, very noticeable, and there's nothing really that I know that I can do about it. While using the water-based dye, I'm gonna have to find some way to cover that up. So now I'm coming in with some sandpaper. I believe I'm using 800 grit for this part because I'm keeping it a very light sanding. You can, if you have a proper maple cap, go much more aggressively and sand back and take away all of the dye that's sitting on top of that closed grain, leaving only the stuff that's in the open grain to get a very strong accenting effect. Unfortunately, that's not an option for me in this case because this is just a very thin veneer and I want to make sure that I don't sand all the way through it, which is definitely a risk. I ordered a flame maple veneered guitar kit from Guitar Fetish a few years back, and it actually came with some sand throughs in it, so I want to make sure that I'm going gentle on this, just sanding back what I need to accent it a little bit. So I've taken some of that finish off of the closed grain, and now I can go in with my amber and kind of amber up that area and also deepen up the rest of the finish. I gave this lots of time to dry in between, and you don't really have to give it a ton of time to dry, but I gave it lots of time so that I'd be able to easily kind of pull a little bit of the finish off the top, and the less time you give it, the more you'll spread it around when you come in with the next color, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's something to be aware of when you're deciding how long to let it dry. Now I go to put this amber on, and I love the look of the amber in a lot of cases, and I really like how it looks in a lacquer, particularly an nitrocellulose lacquer, but for this it's just looking far too yellow for my taste. But I've already started putting it on, so I am going to finish the coat. I'm just going to keep it light, make it a quick one, kind of get it in there to get a little bit of that sunrisey look. And I'm coming in here actually with some of Bellin's powdered aniline dye in the American Walnut to darken this up and give it a browner hue when I come back for my next coat. So that's getting me closer to the color that I want. It's really nice that you can actually mix the aniline dye also with water, and because of that you can mix it with this color tone liquid stain as well, and it's all cross compatible and works quite well together. Now unfortunately at this point it's still not quite what I want. It is darkening up somewhat, but again, I've started this coat, so I'm going to go ahead and finish it to kind of darken things up a little more and give a bit more of a brown hue. But I'm looking for a slightly deeper orange as well in there, a little bit more red content when all's said and done. So I'm going to keep the same mix and just add a few drops of the red once again here in a second, and come over it one more time, and you'll see that I start to get kind of a richer, deeper look on this pass. I want the whole thing to be a little bit darker. I want the open grain to be accented a little more heavily with kind of a darker brownish hue to them, and I was hoping that the red would drop back to that browner look when I applied the yellow, but it didn't quite get there. So we're coming in one more time. This is my final pass. I'm not leaving any time between these last 3 coats. I'm just kind of going in straight one over the other to get it to the color that I want. And you can see already I'm starting to get the appropriate look. I'm starting to get, well, at least what I was going for, which is kind of that more brownish look. I'm blending out any remaining issues in the last 3 coats so that I get a nice even stain when all's said and done. And of course, all the while wiping off the excess when it gets on the veneer as I go. And this is what I'm left with. I get that kind of deeper brown that I was looking for in those open grain areas, and then the lighter brown with a reddish but kind of orangish hue on the rest of the guitar, and I think it looks pretty good. Except of course for that damn glue stripe down the middle. Ugh. Well, I could have done without that glue line down the middle, but I guess that's kind of, you get what you pay for. So we've obviously got this problem right here where the dye isn't absorbing in there properly. It's mostly glue, presumably. There are also some heavy glue areas around the sound holes here. Not ideal. There's not a whole lot that I can do about that at this point. That glue's kind of coming right through, by the look of it, right through the veneer. So it's not like I can sand past it or anything like that. It kind of is what it is. I guess I'm gonna have to find a way to like make it a feature of the finish or cover it up as part of a feature of the finish. All in all, that's a decent flame maple veneer, a decent look. It's got some good flaming to it, is what I mean by that. But the fact that it's so extraordinarily thin makes it really difficult to work with. There's only so much I can do as far as a sandback goes. Usually you would get a much richer look by sanding back a little bit heavier on that first coat. But if I do that, I'm going to go right through it, as I probably will have said in voiceover. So there's only so much you can do about that. And using a water-based dye to allow it to soak in more is a good way to kind of get around that. It still allows you to get this nice rich look, notwithstanding the glue, of course. There's also an issue here where not enough glue was used in a few small spots around the bottom here. So the veneer has expanded by virtue of the fact that I put all of that water on there. That's not super surprising, but of course, anywhere that it was glued properly, that's not an issue. It hasn't popped up at all. In these particular spots where it expanded and wasn't glued correctly, I've got little bubbles. So I'm hoping that as the water evaporates out of there, as the moisture leaves, that it's going to go and shrink back. I will report back on that in the next episode, so to speak. If you have any ideas for how I should deal with these lines, these areas where the glue is so prevalent, please let me know. I'm very interested in hearing your feedback. Again, decent flame on here, but yeah. So if you want any of those products, once again, check out the Amazon link in the description below. Stick around. In the next one, we are going to mix up some black dye for the back and see how this non-flamed maple veneer handles it. There doesn't appear to be a joint in here. This all seems like it's one piece, so we shouldn't run into any substantial issues with glue joints back here. And then we'll go ahead, and there's maple on the sides too, but there are some very obvious joints on the sides and some issues where the binding meets the wood. So I think what we'll do is probably just do a cool opaque color on the sides to kind of alleviate any issues with that, and to give us an opportunity to do a quick little scrape back demo on the binding as well. I'm gonna go ahead and put an affiliate link in the description of this guitar kit. So if you're really into the body shape and you don't find those other issues all that concerning, then feel free to take a look at that. But first, have a look at the unboxing video, because there are some other issues to do with the neck and whatnot that may not be fatal, but at the same time are somewhat concerning about this, and you're gonna wanna know what those are and have a plan to deal with them before you go ahead and make a purchase like this. I think I made them clear in my last video, hopefully, so take a look at that. I will also hopefully be doing some demos of some Solo Music Gear Hollowbody guitar kits very soon, some assembly demos and, full assemblies down the road and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that they won't have necessarily the same issues that these ones do. Feel free to stick around and wait for those instead if you're interested. So that's it, guys. That's our dye job on the flame maple veneer on this crazy Chinese guitar kit. I'm excited actually to continue working on this. It, I think, is going to be quite the process, possibly a little bit frustrating, definitely interesting. So as always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned, stick around. We'll continue on this one shortly, as well as our other guitar kit where we're going to do some even more crazy stuff. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to do so. Feel free to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.